Game day, baby. Let's go.
Hey,
B team, let's ride.
B team, let's ride. All our players, just watch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bench.
You know,
we got
get me out there, coach. Get me out there, coach. I'm ready to catch some passes. Let's go.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Hey, I was out there on tryouts all week. I didn't make the team. Sorry, bros. So.
Oh man.
Oh, I love it.
Just wanted to. I know people are kind of pouring in right now and everything. I'm glad that we're back from the bye. We finally don't have to have a week of not. Well, I should say last week was basically all frustration, pretty much.
That's a good word. That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
I feel like that's all we talked about was frustrations with this team and everything. But I'm glad that we got some football back, and we're gonna have Chargers football all the way to the end. So, I'm glad we're back here, guys. So, hope you guys had a good week. Once again, we're the Bolt Bros. I'm James. I think I'm here on to the right. So, Andrew, and then I don't know if I can point to Kyle. I can't, but those are my bros, my actual bros. So we're here to chat
my bros
about the Chargers, and let's talk about pregame here with the Falcons, man. And once again, man, we had an awesome live earlier the week. If you guys saw it with the Falcons podcast.
Out of your Falcon mind.
Out of your Falcon mind, man. Dude, great time hanging with those guys. And we've been chatting a little bit about possibly doing a post game with them too. I don't know if it's the immediate post game that we're doing after this game or if we're going to do something kind of in another day. So, but either which way, we had a great time with Out of Your Falcon Mind and chatting about the game. And the similarities of our team are pretty uncanny, to be honest. Where that's like the West Coast Chargers, how the organizations ran, kind of the luck of the draw for them. We're basically the West Coast Falcons pretty much in a sense. So it's pretty wild. It's wild to see, but cool dudes for sure.
Yeah,
so
super cool.
But I don't know. I wrote down some notes. Andy, you want to take it from here? I don't know. You want to roll with it?
I was just going to say, I think we need to talk about the fun this week. Our boy Hopkins is out, right? So, guys, we're going to get our third kicker of the season. Dick or the kicker? Let's get it. Dick or the kicker?
You might have a kicker, but is he a dicker?
That's good.
Booyah! Hey,
I think we should make a shirt out of that, guys. I mean, it's amazing. Dick the kicker, dude. I mean, come on now. That is absolutely hilarious. So, anyways, it's just an example of our frustrations of our injuries we've had this season. So,
exactly.
Anyways,
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's
frustrating.
It's unreal, man. Everybody's injured on this dang team. I mean, like Kyle put on that thumbnail for us, B team, let's ride right now.
Let's ride.
Yep.
It's harsh.
It is harsh. I think it's going to be like that probably for the foreseeable future for a little bit too, to be honest.
It will be.
I mean, Keenan Allen, his hamstring still busted up, like freaking Parham re-aggravated his. Actually, he's on IR now. So he's
he's on the IR. Yeah,
he's done.
Yeah, and a few of you guys have also asked me about the hamstring injuries too, right, guys? I play a lot of sports. James plays a lot of sports as well too, and I've tweaked both of my hamstrings, literally my left and my right at different times. I tore my right quad in half, and they take a long time to heal. I mean, my right quad is still torn in half, right? It won't come back, right? It won't be healed. There was really actually no point in even doing a surgery to fix it as well, too. The doctor's exact words were, well, I mean, if it completely tears, it makes sense, because if it's torn in half and it still gives you mobility, what's the point of getting the surgery? I'm like, okay, well, it kind of makes sense. But at any rate, soft tissue injuries, especially hamstring, very tricky, very, very, very tricky. They just do not come back easily.
Yeah.
And they're always going to be aggravated. And it's also a mental issue too, right? It's like, oh man, if I run, what's going to happen? And so I guarantee there's a lot going on mentally with, Allen and now him for sure. So it's sad. It's really sad.
It's one player after another, it seems like right now. And it's crazy. If you look at the breakdown of the injuries that we've had on our team. So
it's crazy.
Currently, Chargers will be playing Atlanta today without their wide receiver 1, 2, wide receiver 5, which I'm not sure if that's considered as DeAndre Carter, who is playing today.
He is playing, yeah, for sure.
He is playing, yes.
They just announced that he is playing. He was listed as questionable, but he's in, so confirmed.
Cool.
Good.
We'll see kind of how many reps he plays too, and whatever illness he has. If he's got the vid, we all had the vid. The vid, you can get through it, man. No big deal.
It's all good.
But then RB2, your tight end 2, your left tackle 1, your edge 1, your edge 3, your cornerback 1, your kicker 1 and 2, and then we could even keep going further on that. And then you could go and say our franchise quarterback too. He's dealing with an injury, so it's like, it's unbelievable what's going on with this team. And I mean, this team to be at 4-3 right now is pretty incredible, in my opinion. There is a level of coaching that I think you kind of have to give a little bit of props on to be at 4-3. Should be better, but at the same side, with the amount of injuries we've been dealing with, it's crazy. It's crazy. But interesting thing is, we're the same record at the same exact point after 7 games as last year with less talent. That's 100%. An interesting thing.
Okay. That's actually a really good positive note there, because like to realize that we've had so many injuries like in this half of the season, and we still are as good as we were last year. That's actually a really good way to look at it, actually, I think.
Well, and I've been kind of hanging my hat on that the last 4 games were 3-1. So that kind of makes you feel a little bit better about it. Now,
true, that does, yeah.
I think I'm just trying to find positivities here, keeping my mental state stable, at least to an extent. What can I see that is positive in this situation? So I don't know. One thing. Andy,
go ahead.
Go right ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go continue. You go ahead, man.
I was just going to make another Dicker joke.
No, it's good. I was going to make another Dicker joke. No, you don't want that Dicker in your mouth.
Oh, snap.
Wow, you went there. Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
Get that Dicker out of your mouth.
Oh my God. I just think it's hilarious. I was going to make a comment also. I know in the chat somebody asked about the new wide receiver we signed. Yeah, it's Doss came from UC Davis. And I mean, look, he's a depth guy. I mean, isn't that one? No. DeAndre Carter went to UC Sacramento, right? That's where he played. Yeah, Sac State. Sac State is where he played. So, but Davis, we grew up right next to UC Davis. I've been on the campus a number of times. So, and they're one of my clients at one point too. So, Big Sky Offensive Player of the Year back in college. Okay, I mean, he probably won't get any playing time today, but at the end of the day, he's definitely some depth at wide receiver. And it just sucks that we have to deal with it. But, it's interesting. I will say this about wide receiver. Bandy on fantasy leagues has been shooting up the list, right? Everyone's pretty much saying he's going to have to step up this game. I think they're I think I looked at it today. I think it was projecting 15 points. But it makes sense on a fantasy league because who else are you going to throw the ball to, right? He's going to be playing the slot. He's going to be the third down target. He's pretty much going to be our guy. So he's got to step up. Moore's got to step up, right? And, man, talk about a banged-up team. It's just going to be unbelievable. So, anyways, I just wanted to talk about him as well and talk about Dicker. Dicker the kicker. Just sounds hilarious.
Kick him in the Dicker.
The kicker. Sounds hilarious.
You could go on with that.
Oh, man.
Forever.
Yeah, pretty good.
Might be our next shirt idea, guys. What do you think in the chat below?
Yeah.
Can we make that
that's
gonna shirt.
Oh, that's gonna be it. It's gonna be an eggplant emoji instead of a football that he's gonna kick. He's like,
that would be great.
That'd be good.
Oh my god. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to kind of go back to talking about our first 7 games of this year. And I remember chatting a little bit with Andy on this, and I said it in one word, and I felt like it was the right word to use on how to describe the first 7 games. And I said floundering. Like, I feel like we've been just kind of figuring things out and finding ways to be able to either win or get blown out, basically. And so I don't know if you guys kind of feel the same way, if that's the right way. I think going into this week, I feel like now it's from floundering to basically who's playing kind of thing, injuries. We came out of the bye week almost worse in a weird way. And so it's an interesting thing of how it is right now. So I don't know. What's your guys' thoughts on the first 7 games? I mean, if we just look at the halfway point, I know we've done a ton of videos on this already, but
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
You want to go first, Kyle?
I mean, yeah, I think floundering is a really good term for it because I mean, like we've talked about it a lot. It's like we have not had a single solid win at all before this, the bye week, So like we've always like, I mean, we almost let the Texans beat us,
Yep.
So that says a lot. And we got smoked by the Jaguars. That
Yep.
says a lot.
Yep.
And the Seahawks, they surprised everyone this year, so that's that's okay. We knew that we were going to lose. Well, we didn't know we were going to lose, but we were all 50-50 about the Chiefs games.
Yep.
But I think the bigger thing that bothers me still is that we only have 3 points average scored for the first quarter.
Yeah.
And especially our first 15-yard scripted plays, no points scored at all. And that's really frustrating for me, what we've seen so far. That needs to change. I don't know what needs to adjust there, but something needs to change there because it's obviously not working.
Yep.
So that's kind of where I feel for the first 7 games. I don't know, Andrew, what do you think?
Yeah, I think injuries has been the problem, right? But again, let's take a subset of fan bases, right? Jaguar fans, Seahawks fans, and a Charger fan, right? At the beginning of the season, the Chargers were supposed to be the team dominant moving forward. Every other fan base out there, they didn't have expectations coming into the season, and that's why people are pretty frustrated because we're just underperforming as a organization on the offensive and defensive side of the balls. Having said that, again, my biggest frustration has always been with Joe Lombardi. I think he's pretty predictable in his play calling, but I want to see a couple things in this game. And guys, agree or disagree with me on this, but I would love to see 2 running back sets more. But since we don't have wide receivers, having 2 running backs out there would make a lot of sense, in my opinion. Secondarily, I want to see Herbert run the ball more, right? I want to see some RPO and see him actually move because right now they're currently not respecting that he's going to run the ball at all. So he's not a threat to run the ball because of his ribs, right? So everyone's like, oh, he's not going to run it. Yeah. So if we could see him show a little mobility just to keep the defense honest, because right now the Seahawks, you know how they beat us? They stacked the box and 2 high safety. That's all they did. Man on the wide receivers. That's all they did.
Yeah.
So you stack the box, you stop the run, and then you stop the big play downfield. That's why we're checking down so often. But I think, offensively, we need to get more interesting, like jet sweeps, more screens, somehow make it so that that defense realizes they cannot continue to stack the box and keep the 2 high safety. They're dictating what we can do offensively, and that's got to change. Like we've got to be doing something different. So anyways, that's my take.
And even to say, going back on like Kyle's comment, talking about kind of how we haven't done well about the first quarter and the scoring for us, averaging 3 points the first quarter. But at the same vein, the last 3 games, we've been giving up 10, 14, and 17 points right from the get-go. Mm-hmm. And that goes back to the play calling too, making mistakes and not and putting ourselves in a deficit, which throws off our complete game. And we have to figure out how to find a way back into this game. So
right.
It's a tough situation of where we're at right now as a team. And it's weird because going into this game, whoever was it that said Gotham just said that this game is going to be like the Netflix Stranger Things show, because I do think there's a lot of Stranger Things that potentially could be happening to where we could be going in an upside down world here of our team of players here, because we're not sure who's really the guy in this point, and it's just going to be really, really odd of what's happening here. So I do feel like, I don't know why, in this morning, when I woke up, I kept feeling like, man, this is giving me that vibes of that Texans game last year, where it's like that COVID game and just injuries all over the place. And I shouldn't say injuries, sickness all over the place.
And don't remind me about that game, please.
I know.
I might get COVID just thinking about that game. Yeah, I'm just
COVID. It makes me a little nervous about how this game goes. And then when we were talking about Out of Your Falcon Mind, the podcast, and I said, like, the thing is, Chargers love to find ways to make bad teams look good. And that's exactly what they said about the Falcons too. They said, well, we do the same thing too. We make bad teams look good. And so the parallels between us are insane. But man, we just got to find a way. My opinion of this game, we have got to find a way to contain the run. Mariota through RPO, their run game, period. Cordero Patterson's back. I don't know how much he's going to play this game, but we have got to contain the run, and the defense has to be the difference maker in this game. 100% has to be, because our offense is, dude, we're walking around with peg legs and a guy with an eye patch and
yeah. Wooden eye.
It's like, right. It's harsh. It's harsh right now.
I mean, like, where does Herbert throw the ball to, right? And again, I think Everett's made a couple of bad calls. Like, he hasn't moved the right way on a couple throws. Whether that's Herbert or Everett's fault, I don't know. But I just feel like the game plan has to be more. I think we need to do things differently, right? In the NFL, if you are predictable, you will get beat. And I feel like offensively we've gotten beat because we're so predictable. We're not doing anything different. And everyone knows they're going to check the ball down to Austin Eckler. They'll give you the check down all day, guys. They don't care about that. The check down is like, okay, take the check down 5 yards, 3 yards. It doesn't really matter. Anyways, I think, what does Eckler have? 65 receptions? I think that's like ridiculous amounts. I mean, that just shows you we're not pushing the ball downfield. So the defense doesn't have to respect the deep throw. And they just stack the box and keep everything in front of them. That's easy. That's an easy way to win, right? And that's how the Seahawks beat us. So, yeah,
totally.
But I would like to see some more pressures too, right? That's the other thing I'm a little frustrated with. With having Mac out there, Mac has done great, but we're getting no pressure from anyone else. So they need to dial up some sort of creative type of blitzing, something, right?
Oh, you don't think Atachu's gonna create pressure for the team now?
I know, right? Wow. Our amazing splash signing, right?
Super big signing, guys. Yeah, super excited for this one.
Oh my God. It's funny when people started kind of dissecting that signing, and they were like, "Oh, but back in like 2017 or whatever, he was ... And I'm like, "Yo, that's a long time ago, by the way, guys.
That was so long ago. Yeah,
a while ago." But it's going to be an interesting situation. I mean, the thing with the Falcons, though, too, is that they have quite a bit of issues on their O-line too, with Elijah Wilkinson going on the injured reserve. I mean, even to say their cornerbacks, AJ Terrell is out. You got Casey Hayward out. Wow, blast from the past.
Casey Hayward, you'd love that, right?
Yep. Yeah. Jalen Mayfield, guard, out. So, like, there's a lot of guys out there that are just a lot of issues throughout their line and a lot of shifting all around. So, I think that's the thing that we're looking at, that they're injured just as much as us. And this is how it is right now for us. And you would assume with their injuries on their O-line, we'll be able to find more pressures. And I'm wearing my rookie year Derwin James jersey today.
DJ.
I want Derwin to come out like rookie year Derwin, where he just balls out, picks, sacks, just a beast. Which I'm not saying that he's not having a good year. He's having a great year. But
he is. He's doing a fantastic.
I want him to be able to take over this game as a leader on that defense. And so I'm expecting that to happen this game.
Yep. One of the things that DJ does really well is he gets up to the line right before the ball's about to be snapped. And he's doing that when he knows the ball's going to be, it's a passing situation. So he'll run up to the line, right corner, left corner, whatever edge he thinks. And he's got enough speed to make it happen, right? So I suspect a lot of that, especially with this team, guys, like they run the ball. They run the ball. That's what they do. So we're probably going to see a lot of two linebackers in the middle, stacking the box. Keenan will be coming down. We might see more man on the edges, which isn't really our strong suit. We typically like to play zone in the secondary, but I think with Derwin James, they're going to probably let him do as much edge rushing as he possibly wants to. I mean, he's a captain of the defense anyway, so he'll probably make that happen a lot more. So I want to see some pressures coming from DJ is what I'd like to see, because nobody else is getting it right except Khalil Mack. So that's the big situation there for sure.
Yep. Amen to that. I'll take it. Demetrius there, 96, winky face, says Herbert.
Winky face. Winky face.
Winky face.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, there you go.
Herbert, please ball out. And, the big thing about that is, and I just put it as a comment, he has a great chance to be able to have a huge game going against one of the worst defenses in the league.
Yeah.
They give up over 300 yards in the air every game right now. They are one of the worst.
Yep.
So when you think the Lions are one of the worst, then you get the Falcons and you look at what they're doing and you're like, wow, pretty bad to see that. And then running game, they give up about 106 or 108 yards per game. That's not good either. So that team is very susceptible to be able to have big offensive outputs against them. Now, once again, we're not a defense that's basically some dominant defense either, too. So, but we've gotten shades of being pretty dominant looking, but we just can't find a way to be able to really make it cohesive. I mean, excuses or not, there's a lot of injuries going on that team too. So
big time.
I really hope to see Herbert get the ball downfield, throw the ball downfield, find ways to be able to get some players out there. Ironically, one of the guys that's the most healthiest dude on our team, Zion Johnson, is actually one of our more healthier guys, Matt Filer, and then Gerald Everett, which Kyle even said in some of the comments, he's saying, hey, Gerald Everett should be the guy that has a big game for us.
He should.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
and it'll be really interesting to see how it all plays out. I actually would like to see Isaiah Spiller out there a little bit as well too.
Agreed.
I'm really curious to see what he does. And again, what James, you and I talked about this earlier this week. It's really frustrating to me how Joshua Kelly was really the nice power back switch up with Austin Eckler, and now he's injured, right? And it's just so frustrating to me that should I get my glasses on too?
Oh yeah, because Aethers, he's coming. Yeah.
Hey,
boom, yeah.
There you go. but it's frustrating because you got to sit back and say to yourself, "Dang, I just wish that they could have stayed healthy, Eckler and Joshua Kelly." Yeah. I just think they're a really good tandem. And again, but the Sony Michel, again, I still submit this. This is another reason why I don't think we really went out and got anybody during the bye week, is because Sony Michel's a great example. He came in right before the season, has not really been effective at all, and so picking somebody up, giving up some draft capital, does it really make sense? Are they really going to help the team? There's arguments both ways, but I think this coaching staff decided, no, we didn't need to do that. And we have people coming back. Problem is, we got to play good. We got to play good football, right? So
100%.
This is how diamonds are made, through pressure, right? And this team is going through a lot of pressure, right?
Yeah.
Under pressure.
Yeah. Under pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Shoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just the question is, I mean, I hate to be negative or whatever, but like, are we going to be able to? Are we going to buckle under the pressure, or are we going to be created diamonds out of this pressure? Because I mean,
right.
we're struggling. I mean, we're just inching by all these wins, like each time. So it's like, eventually, it might, be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And yes, these players are coming back, and that is the positive to think about this. But I mean, what is the shape of our team going to be when they are actually back on the field? Mm-hmm. So, right. That's really just the biggest question. And you guys were saying, like, you want to see more Isaiah Spiller. I want to see, and like, people are talking about this and calling for this a lot, I want to see some Xander Horvath out there,
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, like the only, like, LT always talks about how the fact that he was only able to have that good of a year because of Lorenzo Neal. Yeah, because he had that fullback, that lead blocker, that they were both in such perfect sync that he was able to just get that, one block, and he was able to get a lot more yards there, So, like, why don't we see more running backs systems going out there? Like, that I formation, whatever, like the T formation, like, I don't know, just something.
Yeah, and I like the idea of them being on both sides of Herbert, right? So then you can RPO left or right, right. Or have Horvath be the lead blocker that way and move that direction. And then he could just tuck it and run the opposite side. Again, that's my point, right? I do believe that the team, even when we are running our RPO, they just like, oh, Herbert's not going to run. So they just go out for the running back because Herbert's hurt, and he needs to show that he's going to make that run happen, and at least they could respect the RPO at that point, because they're not respecting it at this point. So anytime you're in those formations, like, well, whatever, he's not going to run the ball. He's not going to run.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, even if we go back to kind of the earlier part of the year with Xander Horvath, remember he had 2 touchdowns in his first 2 games on just small little, like, little out routes out of the backfield, and those are just catches. It was literally the same exact play to the end zone, just a kind of a goal line, dump off basically to Xander Horvath, and we feel like we haven't seen any of that anymore since then. I mean, for all I know, I think Xander Horvath's only probably had those 2 catches for all I know. I can't think of anything else that he's even done since then. So we do need to be a little bit more creative. And once again, the Falcons defense are very susceptible to be able to give up some big runs too. I mean, they're kind of later in the pack against the run. So I think that's something that they need to find a balance. If Isaiah Spiller really could get out there and do his thing, if Xander Horvath could be out there, do his thing. Cause I mean, really Sony Michel to me really isn't that guy for us. We need to be able to put those guys out there. I mean, Joker Hope's asking, it's like, why are we not playing Isaiah Spiller? He's got 1 carry for -5 yards so far. And I think what it is the issue of special teams, because he's not just a running back. He needs to be able to be out on the field for special teams and shore that up too. So it seems like that's kind of the real reason why he's not out there.
Yeah, agreed. Which is an interesting situation, but it also goes to show you why special teams has been good this season, which is interesting to me that we actually have been good at special teams. But he's got to contribute on both sides of the ball, right? And that's a big part of apparently what he's not doing, and that's why the coaching staff hasn't had him out there, which is okay, frustrating. But clearly, he's got to do something different that he's not doing, right? So whatever that is, Brandon says he's pretty cryptic about it at this point, but there's clearly some disconnects there that are not getting fixed. So that's interesting. By the way, I don't think all of our chat messages are coming through on here. I don't think we even have Aether's question in here. I see it in the YouTube channel here, but I don't see it in Restream here. Do you see it here, Kyle? Or maybe I'm not seeing it.
I highlighted
a couple coming through Restream.
I thought I got some of them already.
Okay, so maybe we should go through a couple questions here. I know we got
let's start going through some questions here. So
guys, and put your questions down below too. What do you guys want to see? What would you like to see? What's your game plan? And maybe even a score prediction, right? So what are your thoughts on the scores for this game?
Okay, badass. We talked a little bit about the DOS guy for the yeah, we already talked about him. So
we didn't even talk about Joe Reed and why is he being overlooked everywhere?
Yeah, that's a good point too, though.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
It's a really funny thing because he was a pick for us like 3 years ago under Anthony Lynn, I believe. And when he played, he kind of had more of like that kind of X Factor-ish kind of fit for the offense. Fast guy.
Really fast.
I was tripping out that he still was on the team because I was like, I thought the dude was gone. But
I thought he was gone too.
But he's still on this team. Now, why is he getting overlooked? Like, what is happening there? So that's just something to think about. I'm not saying we need to talk too much on it because we don't really have a whole heck of a lot to talk about it. But it is weird when you get these guys like Keelan Doss. He ends up getting over or get the nod for active squad over Joe Reed. What is he doing wrong? Like, what is happening there? So
it's pretty awkward. You would think he would be out there for sure. Right. It is a bit puzzling. If he's been on our team for such a long time, he should know the offense fairly well. So it's really weird. Okay. Yeah. So maybe highlight a couple questions here, Kyle.
Yeah. We'll do that. Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to some of the first ones that I got. Aether, he had some good comments here early up. Let's go back to this one here. I think this is more of a comment though. Herbert called Lombardi. I said, get on my back. We going for a ride to the playoffs, Herbert. We'll play out of his mind starting today. Then no one will want to see hot Herbert in the playoffs. Bolt up, baby.
Yeah.
So,
everyone knows that he's so talented, right? Everyone knows that Herbert can do it, and I think the argument across the league and with most of the announcers out there, they're frustrated because they don't think that Lombardi's doing the right things to make him as successful as possible.
Right.
I think, again, there's a couple things that I wanted to see happen this year. I wanted to see Herbert take over the offense. Clearly, they have not given him that leeway at this point because he's not audibling. He's not checking out. He's not doing anything different at the line. In fact, that's not happening at all, right? Which I wanted to see that happen quite a bit this season. So, and again, I asked myself the question, why? why is he not allowed to do that? Unless it's the conversation around the analytics portion of the game where, okay, analytics say, boop, 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 boop. Okay, run this RPO, right? And so they're not letting Herbert do that. Cause that was my robot. That was my robot.
Yeah. What was that, dude?
Figuring things out. RPO. Okay, but that's frustrating, and I don't understand why we're not letting Herbert do his thing. Right?
Right.
To me, every good quarterback runs the offense themselves. Right? So to me, that's probably been the biggest frustration for me with Lombardi is that he's not letting him do that. Or why don't you give him 2 calls? Here's a run, here's a pass out of the same formation, and then let him make the call in the huddle, which one he wants to go with, and have the other one as a check down or an audible. That's what Peyton Manning did forever, right? But why are we not letting Herbert do that? Because he knows the offense. Unless our coaching staff thinks, no, he doesn't know the offense well enough. And I'm like, well, then give him 2 plays and let him choose which play to go with, right?
Give it a shot and try. Yeah. And that is a frustrating thing. And there is that side to where it's like Herbert, I'm wondering if he is one of those guys where he just says, hey, tell me what to do and I'll go do it kind of thing. And so I hope he's not that kind of guy, because you need a leader to be able to go out there and take control of the offense and make the right calls at 100%. The line. So you'd hope that he's kind of not that guy. And I don't think he's that guy. I think he's a guy that understands what's really happening on that field, and he understands what's the right play for their players and the situation. So let's see. The thing about it is, this game could be one of those games that it's setting up to where Herbert could have a huge game, and we could all be sitting there saying, wow, we did that without our wide receiver 1, 2, Parham, tight end 3, and all these different things. So I would love to see a 300+ yard game. I would love to see a 400 yard plus game for Herbert this game. We'll see. Yep. REM, nice. Wait, Herbert becoming Peyton Manning with play calling? Omaha. Omaha Steaks. Omaha Steaks. No.
Always freaking hearing that from Peyton Manning, though.
Always. Omaha.
So great.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that was always his hot route type of thing, right? So okay, do your hot route. But again, that's my point, right? So you come up with the line, the defense is going to show you something. Check out of, like, I think about that 4th and 1 when we ran the ball up the middle, and they literally stacked the middle, and I'm like, okay, if I know that there's the play, why would you run the ball up the middle? For 1 yard when there's 3 big fat dudes on the other side of the line going to smash you? Like, check out of it, do something, and that's my frustration, right? That needs to change.
We constantly keep going back. I keep going back to that point of those 3rd and shorts and 4th and short attempts where he just rolls out of the pocket, has Eckler right in front of him. He could choose to run the ball, get the first down, or he could just dump it off to Eck. Like
100%.
I don't know why you would want to always decide, hey, run it up the gut. It works every time, right? I mean, I'll probably say statistically for us, it's probably 40% of the time maybe it works. I mean, that's not in your favor. And I just don't understand why they do something like that. I mean, be more inventive. That's what I'm saying. Try something different. Take them for a ride with our offense of trying different things here. Like, don't be so predictable. And that's the thing. Like, I think that was the reason why that Anthony Lynn got fired, is because he was predictable and
run pass every time.
And that's not good game plan. That's very, in my opinion, lazy game planning, in my opinion. So
right, absolutely.
Well, and we all know the first 20 plays are scripted plays, anyways, right? We scripted plays, and that's Lombardi who comes out with a scripted playbook the first 20 plays, and the fact that we're not executing any of those plays or doing anything correctly, that's clearly just bad coaching right out of the gate. And so, again, that's my argument against Joe Lombardi, is he's not doing anything interesting and he's extremely predictable, just like you said. So, okay. Next question.
Let's see. Okay, Aether had a question here. It was for James specifically.
Yep.
There we go.
Ooh, big one.
Yep, James. Me and you love Staley. The only thing that I'm worried about is he needs to prepare to the play every week, losing to Jacksonville after 10 days. not good to do better. What is the problem, please?
Well, we talked a little bit about earlier on that I keep getting these vibes that this is that Texan-like game, and from last year, we came out of the game looking bad. We came out of the game not prepared. We came out of into that game being very injured. It's very, very similar kind of feel to it. Now, that's one of the things I've been very, very critical about with Brandon Staley is preparation. I feel like a lot of times you go in these games not prepared by any means. And it just seems like on field, we just get smoked. We find ways to be able to shoot ourselves in the foot. We find our ways to be able to be put into a deficit immediately in the beginning of the game. And we need to find a better way to be able to get this game going. Now, my concern also, and why I'm saying that Texan game kind of came to mind this morning, we came off a bye, and a lot of teams could come out real rusty too out of a bye.
Right.
You're not really fully prepared. You're not fully mentally there. Your body's a little slower. Maybe you're just not fully healthy, which we aren't. My concern is that we come out really, really slow out of the gate, which we have done in the last 3 games, and it puts us in a bad situation. If we get into a deep hole in this one, it's going to be tough from that point on to be able to find a way back into this game.
True.
So
100%.
The thing is, though, key to this game, find a way to make them not score for the first quarter at least, so we could try to play our game plan from the get-go. So if the plan works out, once again, I'm saying, and I'm wearing my Derwin jersey because I'm expecting the defense to really step up to make sure that this offense could find a rhythm at some point. We need the defense to be able to step up in this. And so what I'm saying is I am a little scared about coming from a bye week, and scared that we might, and I don't want to say it, but how the Raiders came out of their bye week and they got straight smoked. They got straight smoked and looked terrible. Yeah. So I don't want that to happen. But preparation is one thing I'm very, very critical about with Brandon Staley. And it's been an issue for us. And we've kind of dabbled on it too, even with like Joe Lombardi specifically.
Yep. Yeah. And I think bottom line, and the reason why you come off so soft off the bye week is you haven't been playing football full speed, right? It takes a few minutes for you to get your mind going back. Okay, well, it's game time, and again, we've got to come out strong, right? And I'm really hoping we've had enough time to have some good things happen, but I'm a little nervous with the amount of injuries we have and the players that have to step up. That's a lot to ask for players to step up like this. I mean, it's a lot to ask. I mean, but hey, this is their shot, right? This is Mike Bandy's shot. This is, Moore's shot, Palmer's shot, right? Because Palmer really hasn't played great this season as well. So, you could arguably say we have our, 3 worst wide receivers on the team that are going to have to step up and do some things, right? So, it's going to be tough, and our defense really needs to step up as well. Again, what was the statistic that I think they talked about on Matt Money Smith and Chris Hayre? They said something like we're number 1 in giving up explosive plays, and we're dead last in having explosive plays. Those are 2 horrible stats, right? Because we could talk about our numbers. Well, we're still getting 300 yards a game, but that doesn't matter. We're giving up big plays.
Right.
That's hurting us. So, and we're not explosive. We don't have a guy getting a 65-yard, catch downfield like Jalen Guyton. So, man, it's just a lot to take in. So, anyways, next question there, Kyle.
Yeah, let's pull it up. Let's pull it up here. We got actually James Bauer had a comment that was really good actually here. So, and Aether does have a game plan that he wants to get to us, but it's just like, so James Bauer said, Matt Money Smith put it really smart way with Telesco. He always overvalues his draft picks too much. It would not hurt this team to trade away day 3 pick for him to help it makes 0 sense to do to helping the team. It makes 0 sense to do nothing this before the draft, or the trade deadline. So what do you guys think about that?
It would be awesome to see in the Telesco era, but we've only seen it once, and it was trading away a player for a late round pick.
Yeah,
and that was Desmond King.
Oh yeah.
So that was almost, and to be honest, I still
And it
think
was
that
like a
was a
sixth
terrible
round
trade.
pick too, right? It was like a
Yeah,
sixth
it was
round
like a
pick or
sixth or
like
seventh round or something stupid like that.
yeah.
And he was such a difference maker for this team. And I don't know if he just didn't want to be with the Chargers. And I want to say, if my memory serves correctly, that he was kind of complaining about not having enough field time.
Yeah, that's right.
Um,
Yep.
but it is what it is. He's gone, and he was, man. I remember him taking a lot of touchdowns to the house and just being a great special teams player and everything. But it was just an issue of trying to find, him on the field or find time for him on the field. So
Mm-hmm.
it, I mean, the thing about it is Telesco loves his picks, man. And I get it and understand why, but I get it to where it's like, if we are truly all in as an organization, you have to make a move. Now, there's a salary cap issue too, but at the same side, like, can we even fit that salary in? Is it kind of something that we do want to give up a future pick on somebody that could be an impact player? I don't know, but the time is now to make a run, and they've talked about it multiple times. Hey, Herbert's on his rookie contract. We got to get a run going on here. Well, what do you have to do? You have to make moves that are a little uncharacteristic for you too. So,
I remember watching the preseason game for the Patriots this season, and they were talking about some of their linebackers and position players that were out there on the field. Like, oh yeah, he's been sitting on the bench for 3 years. He had a 5-year contract. It was a third round pick. So the Patriots really use their team a lot like, like a baseball organization, right? You keep people in the minor leagues for a very long time, and then they step up at some point, right?
Right.
Yep.
And that's just how they are, right? They have their own way of evaluating players, and I understand that way of doing it because you want to have enough people for depth, right? That's what we struggled with last year, and I promise you, that's the entire draft this year was for depth. It had nothing to do with players who are actually going to play this season, except Zion Johnson and really probably Isaiah Spiller, which hasn't had hardly any game time this year. But and obviously Jamari had to step up because of Slater's injury. But my point is, I understand the depth conversation, but you also have to win now, and that's where the argument is very different. Because, dude, let's make this very clear, guys. And what do you guys think? If we don't make the playoffs this year, is Staley still going to be our head coach? I would argue probably not. I think he'll probably get let go, which is sad because I think he's a very good head coach, and he'll be a good head coach somewhere else if we do let him go. But there's been too much spent on this team for us not to make the playoffs. 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row with this much talent. And I'm sorry, that's just how it is, and the amount of money that has been spent, there needs to be a return, right? And so again, that's just my prediction. Agree or disagree with me, but it's also a business, guys. Yes, it's a team, but it's also a business, and we want to see results. So
on that note here, Good Brother actually brought up a question right there. Actually,
okay,
does Joe Lombardi get fired if the offense struggles against Atlanta?
Yeah.
Personally,
man,
I don't think anyone's getting fired midseason on this team.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously, if Joe Lombardi did not get fired on Tuesday after the or a Monday after a game before the bye with Seattle and stuff, he's not getting fired this season.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, and that's the absolutely criminal, I feel like, for the Chargers and for this team.
Well, my argument would be this, right? You could have easily of given Ronaldo Hill the defense, right? Let him run the defense, and then fire Joe Lombardi, bring in Shane Day. He came from the Niners offense. Just a fresh set of eyes, guys. Somebody to think about things differently, right? And make no mistake about it, guys. That makes a difference. Then he would have had the entire bye week to maybe simplify the playbook for Justin Herbert. Hey, What do you really want to do? I like these plays, these 10 plays I really like, and let's work kind of a game plan around those plays.
Yeah.
A fresh set of eyes and a switch up means a lot, right? It's a big difference. And so, and again, that's where Lombardi has always been frustrating for me because he's very vanilla in the way he handles things. All of his plays are usually out of the same formation. There's nothing really different. You're seeing some movement here and there, a little bit of, some, pre-snap movement, but for the most part, it's pretty vanilla. And the other team knows how to play us, right? And that's the argument, right? So, anyways, I think bottom line, he should be fired, but he won't. I think Brandon Staley's ride or die with his staff. So, but one last thought on it too. It would allow Staley to not only help the defense, but he could also help the offense as well. All right, 4th and 1. All right, do these 2 plays, or maybe do something different, do some play action or something. So, anyways, that's my take on it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's to be determined. I think with what's going to happen. I mean, my concern is if we end 9-8 again, and say we had the chance to be able to get to the playoffs, and we play against the Broncos the last game of the season, just like what we did last season against the Raiders. If we won that game, we would have been to the playoffs kind of scenario.
Yeah.
If that ends up being the same outcome, that's where they have to think. Are we going to have the same kind of coach, a 9-8 type coach that can't get you to the next level? I love Staley. I think he's a good player. Good coach. I think he's a good leader. I think he's got a lot of potential to be able to really do good things in the NFL. I mean, heck, he was, made the Rams the number 1 defense in the league. I mean, mind you, he did have one of the best defensive tackles in history of the game. But the thing about it is that if we see the same results year 2, 9-8 again, and you find a way that you could have got to the playoffs, didn't get you to the playoffs, like, that's where it's tough. Andy talks about even the offseason acquisitions and the money that they spent. You're putting your job on the line, in my opinion, when you start throwing out that much money. I think it's both for Telesco and for Staley.
Yeah.
So we will see. I mean, James, if we could finish the season 11-6, awesome.
Oh man, I would be.
I would love
hyped
to see that. If
if
we finish 7-3, awesome. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been a fan for 30 plus years or whatever it's been.
Our whole damn lives.
I mean, geez. I mean, we want to see this happen, and I would love to see Herbert in the playoffs. I would love to see our team get healthy at the right time. Like, it'd be great to see Allen back. It'd be great to see Williams back. It'd great to see Bosa back. It might be even great to be able to see Slater out there again too, going into the playoffs.
Slater might be back. Mm-hmm.
Like, if we started seeing these guys getting healthy at the right time, and we start getting that right boost to be able to get things moving towards like a really good end of the year season push, awesome. But once again, if the results of the season ends up the same way, that's where the talk is going to be real heavy.
Yeah,
it's going to be real
it'll get
heavy.
spicy quick. Especially with Peyton moving, right? I know a lot of people, Peyton has been very clear that he wants to coach this team. He'd love to coach this team. So look, guys, I mean, again, it's a business, and Spanos likes to give a guy 3 years. I think that's true. But the argument is he has spent a lot of money. He sat on Santa Spanos' lap, asked for a ton of money. And if we're not getting more production out of it, well, you didn't do it well enough, right? And so that wasn't good enough to make it work. So anyhow, very interesting. Yep. Very interesting.
Well, let's wrap it up a little bit here. Let's get some people just kind of throw out some score predictions here for this game. But Aether had he had a good plan for us right there. This is his game plan for the day. On defense, the Bolts need to put 6 or 7 in the box. Force the Falcons to throw from opening kick. Tell them you ain't going to run the ball on offense. Don't be scared to take shots downfield, even if it doesn't work. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's exactly 100%. How we want to play. Again, it's just going to boil down to execution at this point, right? So, I mean, but the only argument I would say, Aether, is that every team is doing that against the Falcons. That's the game plan against the Falcons every week. It's going to boil down to execution, right? And so, I mean, and especially with they got Tyler Algier, a guy that I wanted us to pick up. He's just a really good running back. I really wish we had gotten him, right? And so it's a little bit of a bummer that we didn't get him. But my point is, our run defense has to win this game, right? I really feel like if our run defense isn't there, then it's going to be a shootout. We don't want that.
Yep.
You know,
we don't want that.
We don't want that.
We don't have the wide receiver targets to be able to really do that, in my opinion.
Yep.
And
100%.
But then again, they have their top 2 cornerbacks out too, and they got a lot of injuries on their side. So I was telling out of your Falcon Mind podcast that I think this could be a shootout. And
out of your Falcon Mind.
Out of your Falcon Mind.
Out of your Falcon Mind.
I do think that it is absolutely key to be able to contain that run as much as you can with this team, because it's kind of almost like they're shifting their idea of being an RPO run first type based team with Mariota as your quarterback. So if we can find a way to stop them and stack the box, that's where I feel Derwin will play extremely well for us. But I think that's kind of a very, very big key for this game. So we'll see how it goes. The game's about to start in 2 minutes, boys.
That's right, boys. That's right, boys.
And Kyle, so Dicker the kicker is going to get a field goal, huh? In your score?
That's it.
Dicker
that's
the kicker.
That's going to be the only difference of the game is a field goal. But I'm actually 50-50 on who's going to win this game, though. So I'm just yeah. So
it's tough. It's tough.
We got a whole bunch out here, So okay, Avatar says 27-13 Bolts. James Upe says 35-27 Chargers. Aether says 31-13 bold prediction. Defense forces 4 turnovers, 7 sacks, under 110 yards rushing. Hello, let's go.
That'd be amazing.
Let's go.
That'd be awesome.
All right, guys. Well, I think that about wraps us up. Let's go watch this game. Let's go. Watch the Dicker the kicker with the kickoff.
And we are going to be going live after the game as well, too.
Yes,
so
definitely.
We are going to be. We'll probably start even a few minutes before it's over, too. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And if it's a bad game, we'll start. A little bit before the game is over.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool, guys.
All right.
Enjoy.
Bros. We out.
Peace, guys.
We out.